there's just too little of what the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but everyone.
Yes, for everyone.
Oh, I love how the lives always start with us just cracking up about fun shit. Say that here, and I just did.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be interesting to see for copyright purposes only. The live stream allows us to have that music playing in the background. It may try to tank the live stream after the fact. We'll see.
I'll just sing next time, Dave, and then it'll probably definitely taint the live stream if I'm singing.
Yeah,
There'll be a lot of tainting if I'm singing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it'll tank it to say you're not allowed to use Elvis record recordings. Well, thank you very much. Okay, so here we are live again. It's showtime for Circle Leadership. It is our Thursday morning lives with Dave and Lisa. This one's going to be a little bit different to what they usually are. Well, maybe not totally different to what they usually are. There's always fun and frivolity. But this one probably a little bit more, I don't know, there'll be a lot, maybe a more emotional context into this one. Because it's been a tough couple of weeks, especially this past week, all around the world. And then Lisa and I were chatting the other day, and we, even us, we'd fallen behind on a few things we needed to get done in our business. I'd like to blame Lisa because she's been swimming for the past week. Yeah. And the floaties never arrived in time. Yeah. It's been more like, yeah. So, and it's been crazy. And, we've had some challenges, like our clients have had some challenges, and it's just been a really interesting week or so, with the world. So we thought we'd just take the opportunity to look at everything that's happening in the world through the lens of leadership in terms of kindness and compassion. And really just more a generic discussion. There won't be any worksheets. There won't be any whiteboarding today. Just a really good, honest chat about, why we right now need to really be demonstrating compassion and kindness to each other in the world, to your teams, even if nothing is directly impacting you and or your business. Because what's going on in the world is impacting people just in terms of how to process what's happening in the world. We've gone through all this pandemic and we're still in it, I guess. So that, and, if you look at other things happening in, my home country of Canada, there's the whole truckie thing that's been going on for months now, and that's been escalating. Obviously, what happened middle of last week with the, was it the beginning? I don't even remember when it started. Was it the beginning of this week with the Ukraine-Russia conflict? Then obviously the floods in Queensland, which are still raging, apparently. So you guys got another downpour of rain. But with all this,
like 3 inches again this morning before the sun came up.
Yeah. So with all this stuff going on in the world, it's, I had a really bad sleep, like the Thursday after our live last Thursday. I think that's when the Ukraine thing happened. That started that night, and then that Thursday night I had a really, really bad sleep, because my brain was trying to process what's going on in the world, and it was really starting to impact me. Even though the war directly hasn't impacted me as a person or as a business, but it impacts me because I'm human, and that my humanity, as we always espouse here at Circle Leadership, that we think of everyone as human first, employee second, human first, client second, even ourselves as humans first before anything else second, and so it was hard to process, and I slept poorly, and it was really neat because remember we jumped on a call with the clients that morning, and I think it was just before you jumped on, I was talking to the crew as we were waiting to get things kicked off. And they asked how I was feeling, and I was honest about it. And I said, look, I had a really bad sleep last night, and this is why, but I'm here for you, and so please understand that. And they really appreciated my honesty and being able to share with them the fact that, that I was processing, because it, realize that I'm human too. Mm. Yeah, and, so that's sort of happening. And, we want to run through a couple of different scenarios we've had, so we can absolutely start, Lisa, with your part of the world. Like you guys have, I've got obviously you there, and I've got friends, very close friends as well, on top of everything else on all parts of Queensland. And it seems like it's not just one spot. I got friends from Airlie Beach through Fraser Coast all the way down to Brisbane, Gold Coast, and everyone is being challenged by the weather right now. What's going on? And that put a lot of pressure on work this past week, didn't it?
Yeah, it's we live in this incredible age where we have freedom and flexibility to be able to work from everywhere and be location fluid, except when the only thing that's fluid is the raging creek 15 meters from your head. The power, the substation's underwater. You've got no power, no internet, no lights. Makes it a little bit interesting to be able to connect with the world. But what I really found good and useful during that stage, because you can feel helpless, like you're sitting here and you see your friends and your neighbors and you look down and it's just a sea of water, and you see people's houses underneath and you think, I want to be doing more. I feel like I need to be doing more. I could be doing more, but I actually can't get there. I physically can't get there. And I alluded to this a little bit in my I've done a couple of lives and talked about this in my Inner Circle article this week as well.
Great article, by the way.
About how there's so many people in the physicality, in the doingness of stuff right now, that we can often feel so lost and helpless and that we can't do anything. But the really interesting thing, and I don't want to get too esoteric here, is that we have the physical aspect and the non-physical aspect of us as our life. Mm-hmm. And so when the people are in the doing, when they're doing the mucking out, when they're doing the hosing down of stuff and things and throwing out their stuff, they don't have time to think and process. They don't have time to feel anything. They're in survival mode. They're just in the do. And so when you are sitting there feeling helpless, and like what Dave was chatting about before, when all of that stuff started, well, it didn't start going down. It just kind of came to a head last strong in Ukraine and Russia. And we've been feeling that tension. Those of us that are empaths, and I know certainly for me, I'm a water sign, you feel everything. Because water is the element that's linked most closely to emotion. And if we're 75% water in our body as human beings, which we are, it's no wonder that we're feeling things. And people are in survival mode, and people are there doing the do. And then people like us that actually can't get there to do the things, if we can hold that non-physical and feel those feelings and just process those, because they've got to be processed somewhere, and just hold those people in that love and light and that vibration. So the fear and the heartache and the heartbreak and the devastation doesn't take over, doesn't ensue. If we can do our work in that space, and if we can hold a vibration where, yep, you know, I'm feeling this and I see you and I hold you in that, but I'm also doing my work to see this is what I get to be grateful for. This is what's not amazing about this, but what's one better feeling thought that I can reach from where I'm at and hold that space for the benefit of not only raising my vibration, but the vibration of the world, which we talk about a lot. The work that we do in the world and shedding and sharing light is about, you know, helping lift. A rising tide raises all ships, right? So does a friggin' flood coming down the creek. But yeah, and so it's been a really interesting couple of days, really observing myself, judging myself, going, Lisa, you need to be doing more. You could be doing more. You're so fortunate, but I've got all of these feelings that have just been paralyzing me, going, there is no physical reason that I don't need to be, that I can't be doing stuff right now. If I can be sitting there processing and holding and really transmuting the emotion and the non-physical part of that, and if that's of benefit to people, and if I can speak to that and give a voice to things that people are feeling but they just don't know how and why, then that's the best work that I get to do in the world, and have compassion for myself that I'm feeling. Because, and again, I'm sorry, it makes me a not shit human, because I'm actually feeling. I'm not going to judge myself for feeling and I could be doing more. It actually shows that I'm a decent human, and I want the success, and I want the love and compassion and the joyful journey for the people. So that's just a little rant. Anyway, I'm done for a minute.
Right. no, but it's really one of the things that really touched me is that feeling of helplessness, and that's kind of like where I was at a global scale. Like, what can I, I can voice an opinion, I can do that, I could be a keyboard warrior, I could do all these things, but at times you have this feeling of helplessness until you can, understand. Like, that's the processing part for me. I was struggling with how to process because I want to help people. I just innately, that's how I'm wired, to help other people wherever I can with whatever I've got. My last dollar, it's yours. It's like, what can I do? And this is what I'm saying. So employers, leaders, business owners out there, if you're looking at this and sometimes looking at your team and you're going, like, why are they, like, what's wrong with them? Like, this has got nothing to do with us and we're trying to get work done. Please just be compassionate and kind and show kindness to people, like, and maybe go take them for coffee and help them to talk it through. And sometimes we just need to be able to speak it to somebody and to say, here's what I'm feeling, here's what's going on. And then just help that person process that. If that was your child sitting there in front of you saying, oh, the world's a bit crazy and I don't understand, would you tell them it's none of your business, just get on with, go back to your sandbox and play with the toys? Or would you try to talk them through about what's going on and what's happening or how they feel about it and help them process their feelings? But all of a sudden in the workplace, I guess we go, well, you hang on, that's not helping me, that's not productive, we're not getting shit done, we're not, we got work to do, we got people to serve. And hey, you know what? Being of service to others might be the way you need to work through it, which is fine. But if we're trying to cut people off, deny them, not listen to them, not be empathetic to what they're dealing with, this could be a big turning point for you with that person in your organization. And, and I think this is a time to be compassionate. It's, yes, is it frustrating? Like, yeah, that, we're not getting as much done at the moment, or like even for us at Circle Leadership, like, was it frustrating that we didn't get all the content produced and all the bits and pieces we wanted to do and all the, weren't sure whether you're going to be able to jump on and be there with the client? Like, yeah, of course it was. But like, that was secondary to anything else. That was like, yeah, well, it's frustrating, but I'm more concerned about you and your health and your well-being. And are you okay? And, and Al and I were jumping on like, hey, are you all right? Is everything okay? Do you need anything? What can we do? Because we felt helpless over here. We couldn't help you. So, we had, to process through all that. It was really interesting. And this was the big thing for me, why I guess I decided, like, this is something I really wanted to share with people, is like, so it was this week. God, like,
Is it? I don't even know. What decade are we in? Is it 2050 yet?
Yeah, it's like, what a crazy, like, that's how crazy it is. So, we started working with this amazing organization in New Zealand, but part of, obviously, with the time difference in West Australia, so we decided to set up a couple of their sessions from 5 a.m. here till 8 a.m. in the morning, so I could jump on and help them as we're building out their business evolution roadmap and continue that process. And so that's cool. But I have to get up at 3:45 in the morning to be ready to go online live at 5, because after that's done, then I have to jump in the car and usually go into the city with our local clients, which is fine. So I wake up the other morning, there I am, Tuesday, up at 3:45, raring to go, everything all set, showered, changed, about ready to jump online. 4:35, I get an email from the CEO saying, sorry, Dave, I've got COVID, I can't talk, therefore I can't participate, therefore we have to cancel today's session. And I could sit there and like, oh God, I got up, I wasted all this time, I could have been sleeping, and you cancel me. And my first thought was, man, are you okay? Like, are you all right, buddy? Like this is. And he's like, yeah, I think I'm, just quick. We were emailing because he couldn't talk, and that was it. So we had another session booked for the next day, for the next morning. So same thing. I get up, and it was actually not right until about 5 minutes to 5 that I finally got hold of people to find out whether it was still happening or not. And they said, yeah, they've been trying to get hold of him because he got worse. Yeah, and like, we're so sorry, Dave. We're so sorry. It's 2 days in a row. And I'm like, guys, don't worry about it. It's not a problem. Because, yes, once again, I could easily be frustrated. Yes, I could say it's a big waste of my time. And hashtag, as I put in my comment, hashtag not a morning person. And I love my sleep. But this could be happening to any of us, because actually that same day, Then I left for that, went to go with the clients, that local clients here in Perth, showed up for a 9:00 meeting in Perth. And we're supposed to kick off. There's 14 or 15 of us ready to work through their business evolution roadmap. And two of the people there had potentially been at exposure sites. So we had to isolate them in a room, get them to do the rat test. So 14 or 15 of us are standing around waiting for half an hour before we could even kick off. Now, I could easily say like 15 people, half an hour, the productivity, the cost, the time, and all that. But please understand, this could be any of us. And my point to the guys in New Zealand was like, it could be me waking up in the morning going, I can't talk. And therefore, all 8 of you who are online, I can't be of service to you today. And I would hope that people would respond with the same compassion and kindness that we put out in the world. It's just like, this can happen to any of us. So to me, it's just like, from a business point of view, if we get too businessy about business, right, we lose the humanity in it. And this is where I should put this up because I did a post ages ago about this. But in business, we have metrics, right? So revenue is vanity metrics, profit is sanity metrics. But then I put in there, what are the humanity metrics? So you can have sanity, you can have vanity, sanity, but where's the humanity metrics? So where's the metrics in your business?
Can you reshare that today, please?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and to me, we start with humanity metrics. All right, that's the most important metric to us is the humanity metrics, and which is why I guess we talk about building organizations that are built for humans. Organizational design should be based on human behavior, like how humans like to work together. And, we all love to work and when we're working in our tribes, we all protect each other. We all support each other. When someone's sick, do we just go, oh, we got to carry their load today? No, we go, come on, you go do what you got to do to get better. We'll carry the load, no problems, because tomorrow it could be me. So it's easy just to get upset, to get frustrated and all that. I guess my point is that this could happen to anybody, especially in the crazy world we're in today. People could have family or relatives that are in Ukraine, and also they could have family in Russia who could be very upset about what's happening in their country and what their country's doing. So we don't know. So be compassionate, seek to understand, talk to people right now, help them process. This is exactly what you do with your kids right now. If they started asking you questions, you wouldn't just shut them down and tell them to go back and play with their toys. You'd help them to understand or, understand what's going on in the world or why these things are happening.
And can I just speak to that as well, Dave? Yeah. Maybe you had questions as a child. Maybe you went to your parents about going, I have feelings and stuff and things that I don't know how to deal with right now. And maybe your parents said, don't worry about it. It's none of your problem. Just go. And so can you get out of your goldfish bowl for a sec going, and have compassion for yourself going, no wonder why maybe I've had a little bit of a default mechanism not towards compassion. Because, what was my input 0 to 7? What's been my conditioning in the way that I think about that? And then having some awareness, how can you get to stop that here and heal that and evolve that moving forward and gift that forward to the people in a way that you didn't have it? And this kind of takes me back to the definition of leadership that we love and adopt, about helping people be the best so they can do their best work while in our care and beyond. And then us as leaders, as business owners, as coaches, I don't like to say obligation because for me it's a pleasure and a privilege. Is that when we're seeing people not behaving or not performing in our business, what drives the way we act is the way we think. And so our space is about going, all right, well, if we know what we want them to do, the behaviors that they need to be taking and the thinking required to drive those behaviors, but we see them acting way out of center with that, what we don't know in that moment is what they're thinking. But in order to create a safe space to find out what they are thinking, we need to see them as people first. So before we're like, what the hell are you thinking? No one feels safe to share authentically there. And if someone's not giving you an authentic, even though it's our job to find out what they're thinking, if people don't feel safe to share the truth about where they're at, then you're not getting the data you need to get them back on track sooner so that they get to feel better. Because people by nature, and you guys are on this live stream, know and would have people in your organization that want to be their best. People do want to be their best, but sometimes despite that, or even by virtue of that, they can get paralyzed and just be overwhelmed by all of the things. So if we can see them as people first and provide a safe platform for them to share where they're at, tell me about you. Oh, I just feel like I feel anxious. I feel sick. Really? Tell me about that. Oh, well, I'm here in Queensland and so many of my friends and family, and they're flooded and I'm not, and I feel guilty, but I feel like I should be grateful, but I'm not. And then Russia and Ukraine, and here's me with my perfect life. That's amazing. And I'm so blessed, but I feel so bad that I'm so blessed, but I can't get out. You know, providing people an opportunity by seeing them as people first to say, tell me about you, and then tell me about that so that you can get to the crux of what they're thinking is an absolute gold mine for you as a leader to help get them back on track, not only for what you need them to do as a person, but so that they feel seen and heard, and they can show up for themselves first and foremost as the person that they are first, and you're going to get the best out of them, and they want to do and be their best for you, even if they can't be and do their best for themselves at the moment. I know for me, some days, a lot at the moment, I'm finding it a little bit of a challenge to show up for myself, but I want to be my best for Dave. I know we need to show up for ourselves first and foremost before anyone else every day. And Dave, you say this, people need someone to believe in, someone who believes in them, and something to believe in them, and something to believe in. And some days, if you can't get around believing in yourself, and if you can't get around the thing that you know that you believe in, having someone that you know believes in you and is meeting you there to bridge that gap, or you're getting back around to get in alignment with all of those things, what a powerful honor and privilege and gift we get to offer our people in the world.
Yeah. And I think that those two simple questions that you raised, like when you talk about and coming from a place of compassion and kindness, like how simple is that? Like, tell me about you. Tell me about you in terms of like, tell me what you're feeling, and then tell me about that, and like in terms of how are you processing, or where's that sitting within you? And sometimes you don't. And please understand, leaders, if you're watching, listening to this, you don't even have to do anything about it. You just have to let the person feel safe space to speak about it, like to express it and let it out. Because sometimes I just need to let it out. I just need someone who's willing to listen. And as a man, this is sometimes something I've had to learn over the years. Some people don't want you to fix their problems. They just want you to listen to them, right? Like just listen. I just need someone to listen to me. I don't need you to solve it for me. I don't need anything. I just need someone I can tell it to. And sometimes we can just release it out of our system and just go like, it's a sigh of relief. Like I've been able to express what I've been feeling. Then I can get on with some other things, because if you just try and shut that down, that stuff's going to be processing and festering in that person's mind, and they're not going to be 100% connected to the work they're doing anyway. They're not bringing their best self to work because their best self is being sabotaged by all these thoughts that are going on, because they have not felt that they have the place or the space just to speak them or to release them, if you like.
And it's not about feeling like a dumping ground either. And there's things that you can do to protect yourself as a leader and as someone that people come to, so that you don't feel like you're bogged down with that. But the spaciousness that is created when people share, it just gives them a little bit of room that they can expand into a better feeling thought. And it's not like empathy and sympathy is different, because we want to see and hear them and make people feel seen and heard in their stuff, but we also don't want to hold them there. We don't want to see them in that. We don't want that to continue to be their reality. We want them to know that it's okay where they're at right now, but also hold them in a space, in a vibration of highlight, and knowing that they can do their best and be their best and that they want to, so that they feel called into that. So that's getting into a little bit more psychology stuff, which we won't dive into today, but that's important as leaders as well, to make sure that you're setting yourself up and having the tools and resources in place for yourself, that you don't have, an organization of 1, 2, 5, 1,000 employees going, sweet, here's all my stuff. Thanks, champ. I feel better. I'm out now. And you can't enjoy the spoilings of your success in your business because you're there just like, oh my God, I'm carrying everyone's stuff. I can't even enjoy this crap.
Put all the weight on your shoulder. So that's a lot of talk around compassion. I also want to quickly, because can you believe it's already been 25 minutes? Wow. I want to talk a little bit about kindness, though, and this one purely from one perspective, that is, when people are emotionally hijacked, they're upset, they're frustrated, they're still processing, whatever it might be. Compassion, is certainly about like trying to understand, let them talk, and everything like that. But sometimes people will be emotionally hijacked and they'll act out of character, and they may say something, they may push you, like emotionally or mentally push you, not physically push you, although I'd hope it wouldn't get to that, but it may. But push you, yeah. When someone simply says, if you were to put your hand up and someone pushes you, do you push back? Like, is it, or do you just allow them to? Right, because you have two choices. You can, when someone pushes you, you can respond in kind and push back, or you can respond with kindness and just say, okay, hey, or you can just even what I call hold your ground or hold your space, and just hold there. You don't have to push back, right? But this is so. Please understand, like a simple question to ask, once again, simple question: is this out of character for this person? If it's out of character, well, then understand that's not who they normally are. So something's going on. So if someone like, that out of character, like starts yelling and screaming at you, then you have a choice to go, who are you to yell at me, and and respond in kind, or to go, hey, this human being has obviously got something going on, and they've decided to take it out on me. I remember way back when I was a younger lad, my best friend and I, we had this really big blow up. Like, it was totally out of character, and I didn't respond to it. He just like laid into me for something. I'd said something that upset him or offended him, that I didn't realize was a sensitive issue for him about something, and he laid into me. And I thought at the end of that, I was like, man, how awesome is this that you think our relationship is that strong that you can speak to me like that and know that I'm not going to run away. And then gave him a big hug, which he was resistant at first, but it was just like, man, like, and then I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you feel that way. I'm sorry that you made you feel like that. Because you can respond in kind. I could have like laid back into him with my perspective and but he felt he needed to express himself. But our relationship was that strong that he could share, he could feel like he could treat me like, who are you to treat me like that? Who are you to talk to me like that? And my mind was like, man, like, this guy's really upset. My best friend's really upset at me. I have two choices here. And if I'd gone the other way, we might not be friends today. So if people are upset and they're coming at you for some reason and you don't understand why, you can respond in kind, or you can respond with kindness. And look at all the stuff that's going on in the world. People's opinions will be about the war, people's opinions about vaccines and the mandates and all this sort of stuff. Just respond with kindness, right? Like, there's purely highly intelligent, rational people in the world that are acting irrationally right now. And whether you believe what they believe or don't believe, it doesn't matter. Do you believe in that person as a good human being? And if they're processing or standing up for what they believe, and the other post I put up about this was the same thing, was, if you're an anti-vaxxer, I love you. If you're a vaxxer, I love you. If you're vaccinated, I love you. If you're not vaccinated, I love you. If you're upset about the borders and things like that, I love you. I don't care. If I love you, I love you. It doesn't, right? I appreciate that you have stuff going on, right? And I look, once again, to the point there, I look at the character of the person. So we're up to 29 minutes. Any last comments, thoughts about compassion and kindness in the workplace, in life? Lisa, give the people watching this a pearl of wisdom as to how best to handle this.
There's this really beautiful space that I've been able to immerse myself into, and I'm feeling like absolutely squeezed. And it's breathe. Because all life starts and ends with breath. So we get to breathe, smile, and let love in. Because what's wrong is always available, but so is what's right. And there is so much love available to us right now. So we can breathe, smile just for a moment and let just a little bit of love in, and then we can act from that space.
Yeah, and that's such a powerful thing. Yeah, and this will be my really 101 shit analogies, but everybody dies of the same cause. They stop breathing.
Yeah, life is in a terminal wellness.
Yeah, so right. So breathing is so important, and it is like just sometimes you just need to stop and breathe, and just some deep breaths. Right, it's so powerful. I want to wrap up this live stream by saying one of the reasons that I wanted to do this is so that I could let go of everything that I've been processing for the past couple of weeks, no, past week at least, or it feels like a couple of weeks, but there you go. It's the last week really. And I needed to be able to express this. And so thank you, Lisa, for allowing me to do that and being a part of this. And to everybody who's participated, watched this, we've seen a whole bunch of people on there. Thank you for listening to us. Yeah, because to me, I needed the space and capacity to express how I was feeling, because I've been carrying this self-made burden for the whole week now, and it really upsets me where the world's at right now, and where people are at, and what's going on, and the way people are turning on each other, and it's I've been carrying that load for a while. So thank you for allowing me to release some of that. And share that with you guys, and for your compassion and kindness for listening. So thank you. Much love.
Thank you for your work in the world. You are seen, you are heard, you are loved, and thank you for the platform for us to share, everybody. As we started.
Okay. Love you all. See you next Thursday. Thank you, Lisa. Thanks for getting off the boat and on the dry land and being able to.
I'm coming back now.
All right. Take care, everybody.